Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I have a pretty exciting video for you. It is exciting to me anyway. I'm going to do part 1 of my 2021 most anticipated book releases. So I have picked 10 of the book releases that are happening between January and July of 2021. These release dates are based on the North American dates and they are subject to change at any time, of course. But as of right now, these are the dates that I know, and I have 10 picked out for part 1. And of course, stay tuned for part 2 of this video where I will discuss the books that I'm excited for between August and December of 2021. But for right now, we're going to do part 1. But before we jump into the book releases, please make sure to click the subscribe button down below and click the bell for notifications so you don't miss any of my uploads. So of course, starting off in January, on January 26th, we have Don't Tell a Soul by Kiersten Miller. So here we follow Brom, who is a young girl who is sent to live in a small town with her uncle who is restoring an old manor house. But she soon realizes that the town, the manor house, her uncle, and the residents all seem very strange and everyone seems to have secrets. And she learns of a local legend about the Dead Girls, who are girls who came to their end in her uncle's manor house. And as she starts digging deeper and deeper into the mystery of the town and the manor house, she herself realizes that things could be deadly for her as well. So again, that is Don't Tell a Soul by Kiersten Miller, and it comes out on January the 26th. Number 2 on the list is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor, coming out on February the 9th. And here we are pulled into a small town called Keeper's Croft, and this town has seen its fair share of tragedies. So 500 years previous, Protestant martyrs were burned in the town. 40 years previous, 2 young girls had gone missing, and just 2 months previous to the timeline that we're going to follow, the local vicar takes his own life. So here we start to follow Reverend Alex Brooks, who is a single mother, and she moves into this little town hoping for a fresh start. So soon after, Alex finds the suicide note of the previous vicar along with an exorcism kit, and he instructs her to start piecing together the mysterious history of the town and the mystery of the 2 missing girls. And this is where our story starts. So a small town with secrets, a high body count, and an exorcism kit. I was totally pulled into this one. So that is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor, and it is coming out on February the 9th. Moving on to March now. So March has quite a few books coming out, but I narrowed it down just to a couple. So on March 2nd, we have Later by Stephen King. And I have to say, Stephen King, sometimes, you know, I can jive with him and sometimes not. But this is about a teenager with special abilities, and just thinking back to Stephen King's other works like Carrie and The Shining and Firestarter, I definitely was intrigued to learn more about this one. So this young man is able to see things that other people can't see and hear things that other people can't hear. And there is a serial killer on the loose in this town, and he soon realizes that his special abilities can help to catch the killer who is reaching out from beyond the grave. So that definitely sounds like it's right up my alley. I have high hopes for this one, and I'm sure just about everyone else here on HorrorTube is probably going to be reading this one in March as well. So coming out on March 18th, we have The Shadow in the Glass by J.J.A. Harwood, and this is being coined as a terrifying retelling of Cinderella. And just reading the synopsis that I found, it says, a deliciously gothic story of wishes and curses, a new dark fairy tale set against a Victorian backdrop full of lace and smoke. And just from that section there, I was definitely pulled in. So here we follow Ella, who is a servant to her tyrant of a stepfather, and at night she takes solace and comfort in reading books by candlelight, but of course everything has to be done in secret. And Ella soon meets her fairy godmother, who grants her 7 wishes, and that is where our story begins. So this is being marketed as a dark fantasy / horror, so I'm excited to see what kind of elements they add into the Cinderella Cinderella story to make it even darker than the original fairy tale. So on March 23rd, we have The Lost Village by Camilla Sten, and this is being coined as a mixture between the Blair Witch Project and Midsummer, which is really intriguing. And here we follow a documentary filmmaker who takes a crew into an old mining town called The Lost Village, where people have been disappearing for years and years. But they no sooner have their camp set up and things start happening with their equipment, things start breaking and start malfunctioning, and people in their own crew start disappearing. So totally along the lines of Blair Witch, and I'm really excited to see how this one turns out for sure. So moving on to April now. On April the 9th, we have Whisper Down the Lane by Chapman. And just by the cover of this book alone, it pulled me in immediately when I saw the red pentacle on the ground with the kids around it. And I immediately wanted to read this book. I didn't even read the synopsis. I immediately put it on this list. But from what I have read, this, they say, is for fans of horror and true crime. And it is based on the satanic panic of the 1980s, and I grew up in the 80s and I remember that time, and it's something that I definitely have an interest in. So totally interested in this book. I don't know much else about it outside of that, but just from that synopsis alone, it was definitely going to be on this list. And on April 13th, we have The Mary Shelley Club by Goldy Moldavsky. So here we follow Rachel, who takes comfort in horror movies and doesn't really get along with the rich kids at her prep school. So one day, Rachel is approached by the Mary Shelley Club, which is a secret student society, and they stage elaborate pranks and fear tests to test each other. But soon, of course, those fear tests and pranks start to become deadly, and Rachel is caught in the crosshairs and she's not sure what to do. So this definitely sounds intriguing. So it's got that dark academia, secret society sort of vibe going on, and that definitely makes me excited for the Mary Shelley Club. So hopping over to June now, on June the 22nd, we have The Ghost Tracks, the San Antonio Supernatural Detective Agency by Celso Hertado, and this is being marketed as Fear Street for a diverse America. So here we follow Erasmo Cruz, who is someone who is from the wrong side of the tracks. So his father is a junkie, his mother ran off, and the only family that he has is his grandmother, who is suffering from cancer. So to help pay for her medical bills, Erasmo starts a detective agency, but this is not a detective agency solving crimes or finding cats. It is a supernatural detective agency, and they investigate hauntings and exorcisms and the like, and he definitely discovers that San Antonio is a much scarier place than he thought. So this definitely sounds kind of like a middle grade or maybe a YA sort of novel. I haven't managed to find a picture of the cover yet, and I've only read about this book from one source during my research. But this one is definitely up my alley, and I will be sure to pick it up when it comes out in June. And on to July. So we have our last two books in this list in the month of July. So first, coming out on July 13th is The Final Girl Support Group by Grady, Hendrix. And so the final girl trope is definitely a big thing right now. There have been several books in the past couple of years, and here Grady Hendrix is doing something a little bit different. So here we follow 6 girls who are part of a support group, and they've all suffered horrors from their past. All of the girls have been meeting for the past 2 decades, but now a new terror has arisen and all of the girls are in a new danger. So of course, with the final girl trope, I am definitely looking for some feminist power and some badass girls, and I'm hoping that Grady Hendrix is going to be able to deliver on this one. And the last book on this list, coming out on July the 20th, is The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. So here we follow Nate and Maddie, who are a married couple who move back to their hometown with their young son Oliver after being away for years. So soon after, Oliver makes a new friend, but this little boy is very strange and has a taste for dark magic. So here, of course, we're dealing with creepy kids, dark magic, and a small town with secrets. So all of that together is definitely right up my alley. So that's everything I have for you guys today. That is my 10 most anticipated books coming out between the months of January and July of 2021. Of course, this is not all of the books that I'm interested in. This is just a list that I managed to narrow down to 10. There's quite a few others that I'm excited for as well. And of course, I do have pre-orders put in for most of these. So of course, stay tuned for part 2 of this video that will be coming out soon. But let me know down in the comments below if you guys are excited for any of these books. Did I give you any suggestions? Let me know down in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, of course, make sure to give me a thumbs up. But until next time, guys, stay spooky. Bye!